cold wind cut through the empty road like a knife. Snowflakes fell slowly, landing on the dark ground and melting into thin streams of ice. The whole town was quiet, as if the world was holding its breath. But in the middle of this silence, two small shadows moved through the snow, slow, weak, and trembling. They were alien twins, barefoot, thin, hungry, shaking in the freezing air. Their skin was pale blue, almost glowing in the moonlight. Their eyes were wide and scared, and their clothes were nothing more than torn pieces of cloth wrapped around them. The boy, Luco, walked slightly ahead, trying to block the wind for his sister. The girl, Leary, held onto his arm, her teeth chattering so hard she could barely speak. "Luco, my feet hurt," she whispered. "I know. Just a little more," he whispered back, even though he wasn't sure how much more he could walk himself. Their stomachs had been empty for days. Their small bodies were weak. Every step felt heavier than the last, but they kept moving. Because stopping meant freezing. Just then, the quiet road broke with the sound of footsteps in the snow. A human man, wrapped in a thick winter jacket, walked down the same street. His name was Ethan, a simple man returning home from his late shift. His face was tired, but he walked with the peaceful confidence of someone who believed the world was still safe. As he walked, something slipped out of his pocket without him noticing. His wallet. It fell into the snow with a soft thud. The twins noticed it immediately. Luco picked it up carefully, opening it for only a second. Inside were cards, money, a photo. Enough money to buy food, warm clothes, maybe even a small room. "Luco, we could eat," Leary whispered, her voice weak with hunger. "Just once." He looked at her with sad, tired eyes. He wanted to feed her. He wanted to survive. But he shook his head. "No, Leary. It's not ours. We return it." She lowered her head. Even in hunger and pain, they still chose honesty. The twins looked at Ethan's figure slowly moving away through the snowstorm. They had two choices: keep the wallet and survive another day, or return it and stay true to their hearts. They chose the second. So with freezing legs and shaking hands, they ran slowly, painfully after Ethan. Their steps made small marks in the snow. Luco shouted, his voice thin and breaking, "Sir, please, wait." Ethan turned slowly, confused by the weak voice. At first, he saw nothing through the falling snow. Then, as the twins got closer, he saw two small figures stumbling toward him, holding out the wallet with trembling hands. His heart skipped. Alien children. Out here, alone, freezing. Leary tried to speak, but her lips were too cold. Luco took a small breath and forced out his words. "Please. Sir, your wallet. You dropped it." Ethan stared at them, shocked, confused, unable to understand why two starving, freezing children didn't keep the money. He knelt in front of them, eye level, speaking softly. You returned it? Even now?" Luco nodded, though his body shook violently. We don't want trouble. We only wanted to return this." Ethan carefully took the wallet, but his eyes never left the children. Their skin was icy cold. Their feet were turning purple. Their clothes were thin enough to blow away with the wind. He didn't even need to touch them to know they were in danger. Before he could ask anything, before he could offer help, before he could understand who they were, both twins collapsed forward, falling straight into his arms. Ethan grabbed them instantly, shocked at how light they felt. They were freezing. Their bodies were almost like ice. Leary's fingers were stiff. Luco's breathing was shallow. "Oh God. Kids, what happened to you?" Ethan whispered, fear rising in his chest, but the twins didn't answer. Their eyes closed from exhaustion, fear, and cold. Ethan looked around the lonely road. No one else was there. No parents. No guardians. No footprints except theirs. They were completely alone in the freezing night. He lifted Leary in one arm, Luco in the other. Their heads rested weakly against his chest. His heart raced. He knew what happened to children lost in snowstorms. He had seen real tragedies before. Not again. Not today. Not these two. He looked down at their fragile faces and whispered to himself, "I don't know who you are, but I'm not leaving you out here." Without another moment of hesitation, Ethan started running toward his cabin faster than he had run in years. Snow flew around him. His breath turned to clouds in the air. The twins remained limp in his arms, their bodies cold and light. He pushed open his cabin door with his shoulder, carried them inside, and closed the door against the raging wind. He didn't know yet. He didn't know who these twins were. He didn't know what they were running from. But he felt it deep inside. Tonight, his life and theirs was about to change forever. Warm air filled Ethan's small cabin as he shut the door behind him. The sudden change from freezing snow to gentle heat made the twins' bodies twitch, as if their muscles remembered danger, even in safety. Ethan placed them carefully on the old but clean sofa beside the fireplace. He rushed to turn up the heat, place blankets around them, and start boiling water. Steam filled the small kitchen. His hands moved fast because he knew every second mattered. The twins were not just cold, they were close to serious hypothermia. Leary was the first to open her eyes. She blinked at the orange glow of the fire, confused, scared, and wrapped in a thick blanket far warmer than anything she had owned in her short life. Her voice came out weak. "Luco? Where is Luco?" "I'm here," Luco whispered, lying beside her, still half asleep and trembling. Ethan came towards them with 2 warm cups. "Easy, you're safe here. Drink this slowly. It will warm your body." The twins stared at the steaming cups as if they were something magical. Leary swallowed hard, wanting to drink, but waiting for Ethan's permission. Luco watched Ethan's hands closely, almost expecting him to grab them or shout. Ethan placed the cups gently in their small hands. "You returned my wallet, so the least I can do is help you." They drank slowly, too slowly, like children who had learned the hard way never to take food for granted. Ethan noticed how hollow their cheeks were, how thin their fingers were, how their hands shook even while holding something warm. After a few minutes, color began to return to their faces. But along with that color, something else became visible. Bruises. I shifted, and the blanket slipped a bit from her shoulder, and froze. A long purple bruise ran across her upper arm, as if someone had grabbed her too hard. Another was near her ribs, shaped like a blunt object. Ethan gently crouched. "Leary, who did this to you?" She jumped and pulled the blanket higher, shaking her head quickly. Luco moved in front of her protectively. "Please don't be angry. We didn't do anything wrong." "I'm not angry," Ethan said gently. "I just want to understand." But the twins stayed silent. Their eyes dropped, and Leary's small fingers gripped the blanket, like she was holding onto her last piece of safety. A loud crack from the burning wood made. Both twins flinched violently. Ethan noticed it. Normal children jump at loud sounds. But this was different. Leary almost curled into a ball. Luco's hands rose in front of his face, as if protecting himself from someone's strike. Ethan felt cold inside, colder than the snow outside. These children weren't just lost. They weren't just starving. They weren't just alone. They had been hurt. Repeatedly. He spoke softly again. "No one will hit you here. No one will chase you. No one will shout at you. You're safe." Leary believed him, but only a little. Luco looked at the floor, whispering something Ethan barely heard. They never stopped chasing. Ethan leaned forward. "Who is chasing you?" But Luco shook his head quickly, fear rising in his eyes. "If we say, they will find us. They always find us." Leary's fragile voice followed, trembling. "Please, don't make us go back. Ethan realized something terrible. These twins weren't running randomly. They weren't abandoned or lost by accident. They were escaping something. Something organized. Something dangerous that Ethan didn't push further. He changed the subject, letting them rest. He helped them wash their faces, gave them warm clothes, and heated simple soup on the stove. As he turned around, he saw Leary tracing a shape on the table, a circle with 3 lines. Luco quickly covered her hand. Ethan noticed it, even though they tried to hide it. A symbol. A mark. Something meaningful to them. The fire crackled again, and once more. The twins flinched. Ethan made a decision then. He would not ask them any more questions tonight. He would not force them to remember pain. He would not demand explanations. They needed rest, warmth, safety, trust. He placed pillows on the sofa and dimmed the lights. Both of you sleep here tonight. I'll be in the next room if you need anything. The twins stared at him. Humans had not been kind to them before. But this man, he was different. He didn't grab them. He didn't shout. He didn't lock doors. Leary whispered, "Thank you." Luco added quietly, "For not leaving us." Ethan paused at the doorway, looking back at their small forms curled under warm blankets. He didn't know their full story. But he knew this: whatever hurt them, whatever hunted them, whatever made them fear humans, he was going to protect them, even if it meant standing against something far bigger than he imagined. The cabin was quiet. Too quiet. Only the soft crackling of the fireplace filled the room. Outside, the wind pushed snow against the windows, making a soft scratching sound. Inside, the light was low, warm, and gentle. Ethan hoped the peaceful environment would help the twins relax. But peace was something they had forgotten long ago. Hours passed. The twins finally drifted into sleep deep, exhausted, sleep wrapped tightly in their blankets. Ethan sat at the small dining table, pretending to read a book but not seeing a single word. His mind kept replaying the image of their bruises, the way they flinched at every sound, the fear in their eyes when he asked simple questions. It wasn't normal fear. It was trauma. After a while, Ethan stood up to check on them quietly. He stepped softly, careful not to wake them. In the dim light, the twins looked even smaller, curled up like they were expecting danger any second. Then it happened. A faint whisper. Ethan paused. At first, he thought it was the wind. But then the whisper came again, clearer, shaky, filled with fear. "Luco, do you think they will find us?" Ethan froze in place, realizing he was hearing them talk in their sleep. Or half awake. Leary's soft voice continued, barely above a breath. "They always find us." Luco shifted under the blanket. His voice was rough, tired. "Not tonight. We're hiding better this time." "But humans are not allowed to help us," Leary whispered. "If they find out he helped, they will hurt him too." Ethan felt a sharp pinch in his chest. Hurt him? Who were they? Why couldn't humans help them? What kind of rule was that? The twins didn't know he was listening. And their words were the pure, unfiltered truth. Leary's voice broke. "Why didn't the other humans help? Why did they lock us up?" Ethan felt cold, even in the warm cabin, locked up by humans. He leaned against the wall slowly, not wanting to interrupt them. He wasn't spying, he just didn't want to startle them. He needed to understand without scaring them again. Luco spoke quietly. "Because we're different. And different things get taken. Taken. Not rescued. Not protected. Taken. Ethan clenched his jaw. The more he heard, the worse the situation sounded. Suddenly, Luco gasped, a small, scared sound. Ethan stepped forward, thinking he was having a nightmare. But then he saw Luco sit up abruptly, breathing fast. Leary woke too, her eyes wide. Both twins were shaking, not from cold this time, but fear. The footsteps. Luco whispered, "What?" Leary asked, panicked. They followed us before. They always follow. Leary grabbed his arm tightly. But maybe we lost them. Luco shook his head. We never lose them. They have scanners. They track our glow. Ethan quietly stepped back into the shadows as their voices lowered again. He wasn't trying to hide. He just knew stepping in right now might scare them more. Then the cabin made a sound, a soft creak from the wooden floor shifting. It was a normal house noise. But to the twins, it sounded like danger. Both of them curled up instantly, pulling the blankets over their heads. Leary started quietly crying. Luco held her close, whispering, No, it's not them. I hope it's not them. Ethan stepped forward immediately. Hey, it's okay. It's just the wood settling. Nothing else. I'm right here. They stared at him, eyes big, full of fear, but also full of trust trying to grow. Ethan knelt near them. Nobody is coming. Nobody knows you're here. You're safe. Leary wiped her tears with small fingers. But they always come at night. Who? Ethan asked softly. Who is coming? The twins looked at each other. Luco spoke first, voice thin. The men in black armor. They took us from our home. They took our parents. They said we belong to them now. Ethan felt anger burn inside him. But anger wouldn't help the children, so he breathed slowly. Leary whispered, If they find us here, they will hurt you too. Humans are not supposed to help alien kids escape. Ethan sat back, stunned. That was why the twins hesitated to accept kindness. That was why they feared making noise. That was why they watched the door like prey expecting a predator. They were not simply running away. They were fleeing captivity. Ethan stood and walked to the window. Pulling the curtain aside slightly, his heart dropped. Fresh footprints. Not his, not the twins. Large, heavy, leading toward the forest line. Still visible in the moonlight. Someone had been near the cabin. Recently. He let the curtain fall slowly, not wanting the twins to panic more. Ethan? Luco whispered, sensing something was wrong. Is someone outside? Ethan didn't lie. I don't know yet. But listen to me. He turned to them, voice strong, steady, protective. No matter who is looking for you, I will not let them take you. The twins stared at him, not understanding how a single human could promise something so big. But Ethan meant every word. Outside. The wind grew louder. Inside. 3 lives were about to change once again. Morning light arrived slowly, pushing the darkness away from the cabin. But even with sunlight touching the windows, Ethan felt no relief. The footprints outside were real. The fear in the twins' eyes was real. And whatever hunted them was getting closer. Leary and Luco sat near the fireplace, their knees pulled to their chests. They looked warmer today, but still scared, as if danger could break down the door any second. Ethan brewed tea and warm milk, handing the cups to them gently. Drink, you need strength. Leary nodded. Luco took the cup with both hands, still watching the window. Ethan sat down across from them. Listen, last night, you said someone was hunting you. Who are they? The twins looked at each other. Leary opened her mouth, but no words came out. Luco finally spoke. They are called collectors. Collectors. The name alone felt cold. They take alien children, Leary whispered. Kids who glow. Like us, Ethan leaned forward. Why? What do they want? Leary's eyes filled with fear. They want our energy. Our glow is valuable. They study it. They drain it. They use it for machines. Ethan's stomach twisted. Machines? Like batteries? Luco nodded slowly. We are not children to them. We are power, fuel. Ethan clenched his fists. Human beings could be cruel sometimes, but this? Using alien kids as energy sources? It made his blood boil. Before he could say anything else, the cabin lights flickered. Luco froze. Leary grabbed his sleeve. Ethan checked the power box. Nothing was wrong. The flicker came from something outside. Something interfering with electricity. A soft humming noise filled the air. Not human. Not natural. Ethan peeked through the curtains. His heart dropped. At the edge of the forest, half hidden behind the trees, stood 3 tall figures. They wore black armor with glowing blue lines moving across the metal. Their helmets had narrow red visors like watching eyes. Collectors. Each one held a scanning device that emitted thin beams of blue light, sweeping the trees, the snow, and slowly approaching the cabin. Ethan whispered, "They found us." Luco's voice cracked. "We have to run." "No," Ethan said quickly. "Running in daylight will get you caught faster. We hide, we stay quiet." Leary trembled. "They can smell the glow. They can sense it." Ethan grabbed his coat. "Then we mask it. Stay here." He rushed to the fireplace, scooping ash into a bowl. The twins watched, confused. "What are you doing?" Luco asked. "A trick hunters use," Ethan said. "Smoke hides scent. Ash hides heat. Maybe it works on glow too." He gently smeared ash on their hands, arms, and cheeks. Soft gray marks covered the faint blue shimmer of their alien skin. "We look dirty," Leary whispered. "That's the point," Ethan replied. Suddenly, thud. A heavy footstep outside. Then another. The collectors were close. Ethan motioned for the twins to stay behind him. They hid behind the sofa as the humming sound grew louder, almost like a machine breathing. Then a sharp metallic voice echoed outside. "Leary in unit. Luco's unit. Register your presence." The twins flinched. Ethan whispered, "Stay quiet. Don't move." Another voice followed. "Sensors detect glow residue. Target proximity, 8 meters. 8 meters. They were right outside the cabin. A bright blue light swept across the windows. The cabin glowed for a moment as the scanner passed through the walls. "Searching for life signatures. Lir." I covered her mouth. Luco held her hand tightly, shaking uncontrollably. Ethan stayed still, barely breathing. He didn't know how advanced the scanners were. He didn't know if the ash trick worked. But he knew one thing: if they broke into the cabin, he would fight. The scanner light faded. The humming began to move away. Leary peeked from behind the sofa. "Are they leaving?" Ethan hesitated. "I'm not sure." The cabin fell silent again. Too silent, then a sharp knock. 3 loud, heavy blows on the door. Bam. Bam. The twins gasped and ducked, hiding their heads. Ethan stepped toward the door slowly, heart pounding in anger and fear. A metallic voice spoke from outside. "Human resident. Open the door. We detected unauthorized alien energy in this area." Ethan froze. They were trying to force their way in. "Legally, they know," Luco whispered. "They know we're here." Ethan took a deep breath. His voice was calm, steady, human, and firm. "You have the wrong house." There was silence. "Then, we will return," the metallic voice said. "Glow does not disappear. We will find them." Heavy footsteps walked away. Snow crunched. The humming faded into distance. They left, but not for long. Ethan turned to the twins. They were curled together, eyes wide with terror. He knelt beside them. "They didn't find you." "But they will come again," Leary whispered. "What do we do now?" Ethan looked at the forest, at the tracks the collectors left behind. "We leave before they return," he said. "And we stay hidden until we find a way to stop them." For the first time, the twins didn't cry. They didn't panic. Because even in danger, they trusted Ethan. Ethan didn't sleep at all that night. The collector's knock still echoed in his mind like a warning. Their voices were cold. Their presence was heavy. And their promise, "We will return," was a threat he couldn't ignore. At sunrise, Leary and Luco woke up quietly, their eyes still swollen from fear. They sat near the fireplace, watching the flames as if expecting shadows to step out of them. Ethan prepared breakfast: simple bread and warm milk, but the twins only nibbled, their hands trembling. They were safe for now. But safety that depends on silence is not real safety. Ethan knew that. He sat down across from them. "I need to know something. Where did they take you before?" "That place. The one you escaped from." Luco looked down. Leary clutched his arm tightly. The memory alone seemed to suffocate them. Finally Leary whispered, "The facility." Luco added, "A secret place. Underground. Far from cities." Ethan's jaw tightened. "They experimented on you there?" Both twins nodded slowly, fear flickering in their eyes. That was all Ethan needed to hear. He grabbed his coat. "Stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except me." Leary panicked. "Where are you going?" "To find that facility," Ethan said, voice steady. "To find proof. If the collectors come, you need protection that I can't give alone. Evidence is the only thing that will make the authorities listen." Luco shook his head. "But they hurt humans who help us. Let them try," Ethan replied. There was steel in his voice. A human rage no machine could understand. He stepped outside before they could stop him. The road to the Aphasia light to waste under Ethan's boots as he walked toward the old industrial area on the outskirts of town, the direction the twins said they escaped from. The forest grew thicker and darker the deeper he went. He followed the faint marks the twins had left days ago. Small footprints mixed with drag marks, as if they had stumbled more than walked. After almost an hour, Ethan found something unnatural, a long metal vent sticking out of the ground. It was half hidden behind bushes. Warm air flowed from it, despite the freezing weather. "This must be it," he muttered. He followed the vents until he reached a large, flat concrete area. At first it looked abandoned, covered in snow. But then he noticed the outline of a hidden door. It wasn't on any map. No signs, no warnings, nothing. A secret. Just like the twins said. Ethan found an old crowbar nearby and forced the door open. It creaked loudly. The smell hit first. Cold metal. Chemical fumes. Burnt wires. It wasn't a place for children. He stepped inside. The truth in the underground facility was dim, silent, and chilling. Pipes ran across the ceiling. Blue lights flickered along the walls. Doors lined both sides of the hallway, heavy metal doors with thick locks. Ethan opened the first door. His stomach twisted. Small beds. Too small even for human children. Straps on the sides, monitors, empty food trays. It was a cell. A cage. He opened another door. Wires, tubes, machines designed to drain energy. Charts showing glowing figures. Children. He felt fire rising in his chest. How could anyone do this? To children who only wanted to survive. Then he found something worse. A board filled with photographs and labels. He moved close. Leary, Luco, their names. Their glow readings. Notes written by humans cold. Clinical words like potential energy capacity, extremely high, useful for long-term extraction, keep under strict watch. Ethan pressed his fists against the table, shaking with anger. These monsters. His voice was low, dangerous. He pulled out his phone and took pictures. Every cage, every machine, every document. Every symbol. Evidence. Enough to burn this entire operation down. But then, sound, a soft humming, familiar, deadly. Collectors. They were coming down the hallway. Ethan ducked behind a metal cabinet, heart pounding. Their footsteps were heavy and coordinated. Their scanners emitted thin beams of light. He held his breath, Collectors passed the room, heading upward toward the surface. They must have tracked the door being opened. Ethan waited until the sound faded. Then he slipped out quietly, retracing his steps until he reached the forest again. He didn't run. He marched. Anger powered every step, the human who see Aris when Ethan reached his cabin. Leary and Luco ran to him immediately. "You came back." Leary cried. "We were scared," Luco said, voice shaking. Ethan knelt and hugged them both, something he had never done before. But today he realized something important. These kids had nobody else. He looked at them firmly. "I found where they kept you. I found everything they did. And I got proof." The twins stared at him with hope and disbelief. Ethan continued, voice strong. "No human should allow this. And as long as I breathe, I won't let anyone touch you again." For the first time, the twins saw something in his eyes they had never seen in any human before. Protection, strength, rage used not to harm but to defend. And in that moment, something shifted. The twins weren't just running anymore. They had a human on their side. A human with a heart stronger than any machine. Asterisk. The sky darkened faster than usual. Thick clouds rolled in, heavy and gray, carrying a storm that seemed almost alive. Wind howled through the forest, bending tree branches like they were made of paper. Snow began to fall slow at first, then suddenly fast. Fast enough to erase footprints in seconds. Ethan stood at the cabin window, jaw clenched. He felt it. He knew it. "They're coming," he whispered behind him. Leary and Luco sat close together on the sofa, wrapped in blankets but still shaking from fear. Leary tugged at Ethan's sleeve. "How do you know?" Ethan didn't look away from the window. "Because people like them don't let their prey escape twice. And I may have made them angry today." Luco swallowed nervously. "You went inside the facility. They will not stop now." Ethan turned, kneeling so he could speak at their eye level. "I'm not letting anyone take you. But you two must listen carefully. Stay behind me, no matter what happens. Do you understand?" Both twins nodded, though their hands trembled. Then a sound cut through the wind. Not footsteps. Not animals. Not the storm. A deep mechanical hum, vibrating through the ground. The twins froze instantly. Their eyes widened. "It's them," Leary whispered. "Collectors." The lights in the cabin flickered violently, then stabilized. Snow blew harder, spinning in wild circles outside, like the storm itself was afraid of what was coming. Ethan grabbed a metal rod from the fireplace tools. It wasn't a weapon, but it was something. He took a deep breath. "Stay behind the table. Don't move." Suddenly, 3 dark figures emerged from the storm collectors in full armor, their glowing red visors sharp against the white snow. Blue scanning lights swept in long arcs, slicing through the night. One of them raised a device, locating glow signatures. "Target found." Luco gasped. "They found us." Ethan grabbed the twins' hands. "Move." They ran to the back of the cabin just as boom. The front door burst inward, flying off its hinges and slamming against the wall. The storm wind rushed in, carrying snow and broken wood. 3 collectors stepped inside. Their voices echoed mechanically. "Illegal harboring identified. Return the alien units. Non-compliance will result in human termination." Ethan stepped forward before the twins could protest. "No." The collectors paused. Their red visors locked onto him. Ethan's voice was low, steady, fearless. "You're not taking them." The nearest collector aimed a stun cannon at him. "Human, stand aside." Ethan gripped the metal rod tighter. "Come and make me." The cabin filled with tension so sharp, it felt like the air was vibrating. The fight begins. A blast of blue energy shot toward Ethan fast. Violent. Ethan dove sideways, rolling behind the sofa. The blast hit the wall, blowing splinters across the room. Leary screamed. Luco covered her protectively. Ethan jumped up and swung the metal rod at the collector's helmet with full force. The hit made a loud metallic clang, knocking the helmet sideways for a second. The collector staggered, but Ethan didn't stop. He struck again, this time aiming at joints in the armor. The collector hissed and grabbed his arm, throwing him across the room. Ethan hit the floor hard, pain shooting across his back. The twins cried out, "Ethan!" But Ethan forced himself up. Pain didn't matter. Protecting them did. Another blast came, this one aimed at the twins. Leary raised her hands on instinct. What happened next stunned everyone. Even her. A bright blue bubble of energy formed around the twins, small but strong. The blast hit the shield and scattered into sparks. Luco stared at her in shock. "Leary, you did that?" I don't know how." The collector stepped forward. Energy output detected. Priority target. Ethan grabbed a broken chair leg and slammed it against the back of the machine's knee joint. The collector fell to one side, sparks flying. "Run!" Ethan shouted. The twins ran toward him instead, grabbing his arms. "We won't leave you." But the storm outside grew louder. A second collector charged at them. A third raised another cannon. Luco's eyes glowed bright blue. "No, nitrogen monoxide more." His small body released a shockwave of blue energy. Not strong enough to destroy the collectors, but strong enough to stun them for 3 seconds. 3 seconds was enough. Ethan grabbed the twins and ran through the broken doorway into the blinding snowstorm. The ECAP forest became a maze of white. Snow tore across their faces. Wind slapped their clothes violently. Behind them, the collectors recovered and stepped out of the cabin. Pursuit mode activated. Terminate interfering human. Ethan held the twins close, breath freezing in the wind. "We have to reach the old mine. I know a hiding spot there." Leary clutched his coat. "They are fast." "Then we run faster." The storm grew savage, hiding their bodies but doing little to slow the machines. Red visors glowed through the snow like eyes of demons that the chase had begun. Human against machines. 2 alien children against a system built to consume them. And in the middle, one man driven by something collectors would never understand, a human heart. And a human's courage. Snow hit Ethan's face like needles as he pushed through the storm, one twin under each arm. The wind howled, smashing branches, bending trees, and swallowing all sound except the pounding of his own heartbeat. Behind them, red visors glowed through the snow collectors advancing steadily. Not slowed by the storm, not tired, not afraid. "Ethan, please." "Don't stop," Leary cried. "I'm not stopping," Ethan said, voice shaking from cold but firm with determination. The old mine was close, just beyond the ridge. He remembered hiding there as a child, a place no one ever visited anymore. If he could get them inside, maybe they could hold off the collectors long enough for help to arrive. But help would only come if the authorities believed him, and for that, he needed the evidence he captured. Snow blinded him. But he kept moving, inside the mine with one last desperate push. Ethan slid down the snowy slope leading to the abandoned mine entrance. The wooden beams were old and broken, but the tunnel inside was wide enough to hide. He rushed in, guiding the twins behind a fallen cart. "Stay low. Stay quiet." The twins pressed against him, breathing hard. Their glow was faint, but it was enough for the collectors to track. Outside, the storm roared and mechanical footsteps echoed across the ridge. The collectors scanned the snow. Blue beams flashed across the trees. The ground trembled with each step. Scan complete. Targets moved downward. Ethan's chest tightened. They were coming. He whispered quickly, "Listen to me. No matter what happens, don't move from here. Understand?" But Leary shook her head, tears shining in her eyes. "No, no. We won't leave you." Luco grabbed Ethan's sleeve. We stay together. Like family. Ethan looked at them both. He saw their fear, their innocence, and the strange unbroken strength inside them. Something fierce inside him awakened stronger than fear, stronger than pain. You two are not just kids anymore, Ethan whispered. You're survivors. And you're not alone. A loud metallic sound echoed outside. The collectors entered the mine. The final S&D blew. Scanning lines cut through the darkness. Targets detected. 3 collectors marched forward. Their armored steps echoing through the tunnel. Ethan stood up slowly, stepping into their path. This ends now, he said. One collector aimed its stun cannon. Human, you are interfering with government property. Ethan raised his chin. They are not property. The cannon charged. Ethan didn't move. Luco gasped. Ethan, no! But suddenly, a brilliant blue burst exploded from behind Ethan. Her small hands were raised, glowing bright like a star. She wasn't afraid anymore. Her energy shot forward, forming a shield that blocked the cannon blast. The beam shattered against the shield like glass hitting steel. The collectors paused. Unexpected energy level, reassessing threat. Luco stepped beside her. His glow grew stronger, brighter. His small body trembled, but he didn't back down. Ethan looked at them with shock and pride. You're protecting me? Leary nodded fiercely. You protected us first. The collectors fired again, 3 beams at once. Leary and Luco joined hands. Their glow merged, exploding into a wave of blue light that roared through the mine like lightning. The blast struck the collectors, slamming them into the tunnel walls. Sparks flew. Armor cracked. Their scanners shattered. The mine shook, dust falling from the ceiling. The twins fell to their knees, exhausted, but smiling weakly. Ethan ran to them, holding them close. You did it. You really did it. But it wasn't over. One damaged collector struggled to stand, its voice glitching. Gets and must be secured. Ethan stood up, fury burning through him. Not today. He grabbed a heavy metal pipe from the ground and swung it with every ounce of strength. He hit directly at the collector's chest. The machine collapsed. Its visor flickered, then went dark. Silence filled the mine. The collectors were down. The twins were safe. For the first time since Ethan met them, he allowed himself to breathe. A new MOR9G authorities arrived hours later after Ethan sent the evidence he captured. That evidence exposed the facility, the experiments, and the illegal operations behind the collectors. The government shut the facility down. The collectors were seized. The children who were missing were found. And the truth finally came to light. A week later, Ethan stood in front of an officer holding a clipboard. So, the officer said, you are requesting guardianship of the twins? Ethan looked at Leary and Luco. They stood beside him, holding his hands with shy smiles. Yes, he said. They're staying with me. Leary looked at the officer bravely. We don't want any other human. Luco nodded. Ethan is our family now. The officer's expression softened. Well, paperwork is approved. Leary gasped. Luco's eyes filled with tears. Ethan knelt and pulled them into his arms. They hugged him tightly, as if afraid the world might take him away. You're safe now, he whispered. Nobody will hurt you again. Leary whispered back, you saved us. Luco added, voice trembling with happiness. And we saved you too. Ethan smiled. That's what families do. Snow fell gently outside, quiet, peaceful, soft. The storm was over. The fear was gone. And inside one small cabin, deep in the woods, a new family was born.